good. You're good. Okay. Hey,
Yes, I gotta
hey.
fix the hair.
Yeah, let me just fix my ruler here for a second. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another fine hour of art and conversation with the inevitable Donald Kent. And joining me this evening is the White Devil himself, Luke Imminent Rain Mason. Wow, it is an honor to be in your presence,
Cheers.
sir. An honor, yes. And you just put out some music a little
And
bit
likewise,
ago. Oh, thank you, sir.
it's been too long.
I know. It's I always love having you on the show. It's always a good time. Uh, Luke and I go way back. We're the OG White Art Collective founders. We played at the first White Art Collective Music Festival, and the guy is just extraordinary. He's kind of like brothers from another mother kind of deal. My martial art brother, my music brother, my white identity movement brother. A lot of good stuff. So
Yes.
off before we started here, we were just actually talking about health matters, and our friend Luke here. How many pounds did you lose?
Well, okay, so I did lose 90 pounds,
90 pounds.
but I went to Patriot Jam and regained 5 because I ate some normal food there.
Five.
But
Yeah.
I'm back losing more again.
Okay.
So I was a couple pounds down today. So I'm back on the discipline.
Good.
So it feels good to be back.
Okay.
But
Okay. That's good.
yeah.
So just a moment ago, you were about to tell me about what you pretty much eat every day. What is your what's
Oh yeah.
your what's your diet?
Okay, so like a typical day for me, I
Hmm.
would I would like wake up in the morning and have black coffee, no bullshit in the coffee,
Okay, black coffee.
and that can be tough to get used to. And
Right.
the reason I avoid like the sugar and cream and stuff is
Yeah.
because sugar activates your hunger hormone, ghrelin,
Right.
and and I'm not good at dealing with those cravings, dude. I love food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I can just keep from activating that hunger hormone, I do a lot better. So that yeah,
Okay.
so I have the black coffee, and then I eat like hard boiled eggs,
Mm-hmm.
string cheese,
Okay.
apples, uh, like chicken thighs that I actually eat them like, I cook up a bunch of chicken thighs in my Instant Pot. It's like a pressure cooker,
Okay.
and I just like put like some seasoning in there, like some fajita seasoning, and it you can put the chicken thighs in the pressure cooker frozen, and in
Hmm.
like 30 minutes they're done,
Okay.
and they're like, you know all cooked up and stuff, and it's like super easy. But yeah, I use that pressure cooker a lot. I use that to make my hard boiled eggs too, and that makes them.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, dude. So the chicken, and then I got into eating baked
All right.
potatoes, and not just because they're cheap, but also because they kind of like they're
Yeah, they fill you up.
satisfying, you know. And yeah, dude, and it is a
Okay.
carb, but I only eat them like one at a time, and it just adds some variety
Okay.
to my diet. I was going carnivore for a
Yeah.
long time, but I just missed having the variety. And I'll have like some broccoli that I boil the frozen broccoli, and then I like fry it up with like a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, and
Mm.
then I put some Walden's dressing on there, which is actually like a 0 calorie dressing, but it just kind of adds to the flavor. And then
Okay.
I fry that up, and so I have that, and then like I eat like a lot of Fahe Greek yogurt. This
Oh,
isn't like an advertisement or nothing,
yeah.
but I really
No, I
like the
need to know.
Fahe Greek yogurt.
I
It
need.
has.
I need to know. I just can't beat it, man. I mean, I have tried everything you've tried. I gain 5 pounds. I lose 5 pounds. I gave and just up and down and up and down and up and down. I'm like, no, I gotta get something else going on. So this is really, really helpful to me, and I appreciate it. I'll
Yeah,
have.
man, I hope it helps. I know it's really individual for everyone, but I do
Mhm.
think that there is something to the whole calories out, calories in, calories out, and just being
Yeah.
super consistent. Like It took me a year, dude.
God.
It took a year out of my life, and I had to make it the top priority of my life. I thought it was going to be something I could do on the side.
Yeah.
But really, dude, I had to make that like my top priority and build the rest of my life around it.
So
That's the
when
only
you
thing that worked
say
for
it
me.
took a year, like how many pounds would you lose in say a month or a week?
About 10 pounds a month. But
10 pounds a
that's
month.
pretty fast too. That's not typical.
Okay.
It's probably 5 pounds a month would be typical, but I don't know, dude. I hit it pretty hard, and
Yeah.
I was very motivated. I'm still very motivated to, lose the rest of it. I've still got a ways to go
What's your goal?
before I'm at my fighting weight. My first goal is to get down to 230,
Okay.
which is what I was coming out of the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and I was in great shape then, and I was just basically a beast, But I might even be able to get down to somewhere around like 195. There's a kickboxer named what's that guy's name? He was like an 80s kickboxer, Bad Brad Hefton. This dude, I love watching these old like kickboxing videos, where he's like beating up the goblins and stuff in the ring.
That's good. That's always satisfying.
Yeah, dude, these old like 80s kickboxing videos. But yeah, he's like my height, and he was like 195, and I remember being that height. If I got trim enough, I might be able to get down there. But honestly, I'm gonna be happy just as long as I can get my stomach all the way flat. It's flatter than it was when I was like heavier. And I've had a lot of like health improvements. Like I used to have plantar fasciitis, but I don't anymore.
What is that exactly? That's like a pain in your feet or something?
Yeah, dude. Basically, every morning when you get up out of bed, the fascia on the bottom of your foot will stretch and like tear.
Ew.
And yeah, dude. And losing all this weight, that doesn't happen to me anymore. And I can walk around barefoot now with no problems. And yeah, dude, it's just been a lot better. I can walk for longer. I'm like more athletic now. I can almost run again, which is I've missed running. Running does feel a little bit wonky with hip replacements though. So you got to be careful. And
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, dude, it's really improved the quality of my life, and I feel like, well, like doing my videos and stuff that I'm working on for the White Devil Project. It is. I really feel a lot more confident with how I look on camera now too.
Oh,
so that makes me feel way better.
It's a thing, man. I know. I mean, I get it. What do you? I mean, the better you look, the better you feel, and all that. It's all part of the same thing. I was starting to think that I've got like a hormonal problem or something, like too much cortisol. And if you know about cortisol, it's basically the stress hormone.
Yeah.
And it does. I guess it causes weight gain, and there's other problems.
Absolutely.
There's other problems with it. I've been through real heavy traumas in the past 3 years, and I'm just starting to come out of that and like heal and reclaim my life, basically. And I'm not gonna turn the show into all about that or whatever, but people.
No, I think that's glorious, dude. I'm fucking rooting for you, bro. You have been through a lot, and I think it's the perfect timing for you to like to hit it again, and to reclaim the kind of life that a man like you deserves to have.
Thank you. Wow. Well, this is a fantastic thing to say. I appreciate that. So, it's tough, and like hearing what you're saying is very helpful, because I'm like, damn, I can't crack the fucking code, you know. And I did just.
It's hard, dude.
Yeah, I did just recently have a doctor's visit, and I was kind of worried about a certain diagnosis, but I am clean as a whistle. and feeling
Yes.
fine. Yeah, feeling really, really fine about that. So
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's a really major. I don't know how to phrase this, but like I have a really strong relationship with God, and that's my own
Yeah.
personal stuff. It's not things I proselytize about or what have you, but it's played. It's had everything to do with all of this.
Yeah, dude,
Um,
it's super important, man. I was just praying and journaling before I got the link.
oh, wonderful,
So,
wonderful.
I
That's
mean,
great. Yeah.
I might not pray to the same God as you, but I do
Right.
think it's like important to connect with a higher power, you know,
Indeed, indeed.
because
Um,
we don't have all the answers, you know?
oh yeah. And it's an interesting it's an interesting thing, but sometimes talking about it kind of ruins it in a way too. Like there's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
it's sort of that's why I say it's sort of like an intimate thing. I respect other people's views and stuff. I know what's real to me. I guess I'll put it that way.
yeah.
I know what works for me, if you will.
Well,
So
it
it's
makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, because it's sacred. And
There
things
you
that are
go.
sacred are not just left out for public consumption, you know, like
No, yeah,
your
yeah.
relationship with a woman is sacred, and that's
Right,
why like
right.
we white Aryan folk tend to not have like a bunch of public displays of sexuality because sexuality is
For
sacred,
sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Hey, my favorite pagan just showed up here. Ulfric is here. Howdy, folks. What's on the agenda for
Hail
tonight?
Zilfric.
Hail, Ulfric. Boy, well, we were just talking about health and well-being. My man here just lost 90 pounds. And so he's telling me about his magic diet, which I'm gonna start going on. I'll have you like I'll message you privately and like write this down. I need to have it like on a list or something.
Yeah,
But
man.
that's yeah, very very awesome. What else? And then yeah, we were just start talking about God basically. I'm wondering like how does maybe Alfred can add to this. How does a I don't like to use the word pagan, but like Asatru, Odinist, like how do you pray? What is like prayer to someone who is in the Germanic pagan religions? I don't know if Ulfric, if you have any information on that, or I think it'd be an interesting thing to know about. Good for you, man. Always great to get in shape. Ulfric's a
Yeah.
pretty healthy dude, real strong guy. Just be careful when you shake his hand. You don't want to break your fingers or anything like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm not like 100% pure also true because I have some influences from Druidry and Rodnovery as well, and also like a huge Nietzschean influence on my spirituality. But I am a
Mm,
part of a kindred, and I could kind of give
okay.
you a little insight as to like what we do when we gather and we have
Please
our
do. Please do. Like what?
yeah.
Go ahead.
So we have like in my kindred that I'm a part of up here in North Idaho. We have like gatherings where we will celebrate and we'll hail the gods, you know, and we'll have a toast of mead that goes around.
Hmm.
And when we get the mead, we'll toast to one of the gods that we have a strong connection with.
Okay.
And then we'll go and we'll toast to our ancestors on like the
Hmm.
second round. And then
Okay.
also another thing is we like to leave an offering like food or drink or something, just real simple, just something for the land spirits, or they're often
Mm.
called like land whites or the nature spirits.
Interesting.
And yeah, like my kindred leader, he has his own property that we gather on, and so that's like
Wow.
they're really connected to their own land, and so
Mm-hmm.
they view like the land spirits or the land whites, or as some people would think of them, I just think of them as elves, you
Okay.
know, like but more of like a spiritual kind of being that's more
Hmm.
connected with nature, I guess.
Okay.
But it's just kind of a way of like honoring nature is the way I look at it,
Okay.
and honoring the spirits of nature and the various different aspects of
Mm.
nature.
Mhm.
And so, we honor the gods, we honor our ancestors like family, and then we honor nature. So,
Okay. I want to toss in the notion that gratitude towards higher spirits, for lack of a better term, is a really, really essential and natural and powerful spiritual technology that when you are struggling in your life and you're seeking help, guidance, wisdom, strength, all of those things that we need to get through life, when you do finally recognize all that you do have and like the gifts that you have, then you naturally should feel an enormous amount of gratitude. And so like
yeah.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't know, it's I guess this is in a sense humanizing the gods or God in some regard, and I don't think there's anything weird or wrong about that. That it's God is not AI, although some people would like it to be. But yeah, and that sense of gratitude, it really, I don't know how to say it, but it sort of like locks you in emotionally, and creates a kind of an emotional connection with the spirit with whom you're communing with, and I think it also builds a relationship with them. So yeah, giving thanks, offerings, all this stuff. Now, on the topic you just mentioned about elves, I want to share something really fascinating with you. When I used to do consultation for the Iroquois Nation, um, I, of course, knew a lot of the tribal chiefs and worked for the government. And, we would do our business related stuff and then go have lunch and stuff. And this was, we did this quite a lot. And then as they got to trust me and know me, they shared a lot of stuff, a lot of information with me that I don't think anyone outside of their tribe should know or would know. And they were explaining to me, like, it's, if you want ever go camping, you know, on our lands, stay away from this one mountain here because there are some spirits. There's some dangerous spirits on that land. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because it's kind of paranormal type stuff or whatever. And so they were just going on about these various things, but then they started talking about the little people, and I'm like, what do you mean the little people? You know what I mean? Yeah, the little people, and these are just it's just part of the landscape, in their spiritual world, that they refer to them like we would just refer to anybody, like people that we know. So I'm kind of curious if their quote little people are something like what you would maybe think of as elves or something like that in other other cultures or something. So the point I'm all essentially making is just that I'm saying that this is real to them. So if it's, if such things are real to them, then why can't it be real to others?
Yeah. Okay, so I have this book called Technomage by Dirk Bruere, right?
What a name.
And in this, yeah, this guy's he's not our guy. He's not our guy,
Okay.
but
Okay.
there's some really fascinating things that he says about chi and
Okay.
about uh, the relationship between like programming, like computer programming,
Yeah.
and various forms of like occult kind of practices. And one of
Interesting.
the things he said was that a lot of spirits have a particular attachment to a place. And
Mm.
this was a real interesting phenomenon because this guy, he's not like, he is a pagan, but he's not like a based pagan, if you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But he found uh, an experience that someone who is not white uh, recounted. They were on some sort of like a trip,
Okay.
with like psychedelics, but they
Yeah.
were in North America and they were in the forest.
Okay.
And they saw what could only be described as two elves being uh, Ingfreyr, and the other one was like there was a female, and I can't remember what her name was, but it was basically like they were known as being like elves or elf-like
Wow.
in Norse paganism. And
Mm.
this guy wasn't white, but he was in the area of like North America,
Mm-hmm.
and he just assumed that he was seeing those elves because to him they were like foreign spirits, but he assumed that he was seeing them because he was in like the spiritual territory of white people.
Oh wow.
And
Wow.
dude, it's a trip, dude. I'm
That's
not doing
wild.
it justice,
Yeah.
but the way that it's described in Technomage is really compelling. And there's some other really interesting um, anecdotes that are in that book. They talk a
Mm-hmm.
lot about this experiment
Yeah.
that these English scientists did called
Mm-hmm.
Conjuring Up Philip.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've heard of this, but they basically created a fictional character and they
Wow.
started celebrating his life. And, they sorted out all the details of this fictional character's
Okay.
life and
Yeah.
then
This is the
started
form of magic.
celebrating him like once a week.
Okay.
And after a couple years of that, they started holding seances, and they started talking to Philip, and Philip like actually showed up in the form of paranormal happenings that could not be
Yeah. 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 Wow.
even went to different locations.
Yeah.
They used, all kinds of surveillance equipment, and the paranormal things still happened when
Wow.
they conjured Philip. And it was reading about that really changed how I viewed, different forms of spirituality and religions, because not that I think that I don't think that the gods, I don't think that they're like made up,
No.
but I do think that perhaps, either like older spirits that aren't created by the imagination can also like hijack that spiritual energy and cause things to happen, or perhaps that people could create what's called like a thought form or a tulpa.
Yes.
There's a real interesting movie about that called The Empty Man. I don't know if you've seen that,
No.
but it's an incredible movie.
Wow.
And it deals with the concept of the thought form or the tulpa.
Yeah.
And I happen to think that the great Begelian in the sky might be a thought form, but that's just my personal opinion.
Say that again. The Negelian in the sky. What are you talking about?
The Begelian in the sky.
What's the
I
Gellian in
think
the sky? I'm not understanding your
the
joke here.
the Begelian in the sky.
The bagel. The bagel in the
Yeah.
Okay.
The great bagel in the sky
You
might
have
be
your
a thought form.
Okay, people need to understand that the mighty imminent rain has his own dialectic, and if you're not
Yes,
plugged
the
in
great
with it, yes, the
yes
great
Hippocratic
bagel,
oath. He says, yes, the great grabbler in the sky.
the grabbler, yes, the great grabbler in the sky.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think that might be a thought form. And if you
right.
think about like how much
Oh
psychic
God.
energy people have put into that through the centuries.
Oh man, I completely understand. I completely agree with you on that. So no, wow, it's almost to say that man creates gods in this regard.
I think
Perhaps.
we could create thought forms, but
Okay.
I also think there might be like an older entity that could have hijacked the what do you call it, the grabbler in the sky. Maybe an older entity like El or Saturn.
I don't know.
Um,
Or Yahweh.
well, yeah, I kind of think of Yahweh. Like, what if Yahweh is actually like that's not his real name? What if it's actually like El or Saturn or something? Who knows?
Yeah, to my
Kronos,
right, to my understanding, it's funny how when you change the name of an entity, a being, a god, whatever, then it kind of hides what it is. But I don't know. I mean, I've got this running theory that Yahweh is has something to do with the demiurge. I don't know if Yahweh is
Yes,
quite.
me too.
Yeah, I don't know if Yahweh.
You've actually influenced me in that. I think that he is one and the same with the demiurge.
You know, if at the very least, he's an archon. He's like a really, really high level archon.
Yeah.
I don't know that Yahweh has the power to create worlds like the demiurge does.
Yeah, maybe so.
Tough to say. This is kind of
Maybe
a lot of pontification.
It's a lot of speculation.
Speculation
For sure. But I mean, I think it's productive in a way to conjure up these different models of possibility, of how things might be, just to avoid getting too stuck to one that might not be productive for our people.
Well, to get back to what you were saying about thought forms, excuse me, I've read about things of that nature in the occult, in magic. I would say that perhaps the golem could be a thought form.
Yes.
The creation of some kind of protective being made out of clay that has no mind of its own and can just be commanded. It's like the golem, of course, is kind of like Jewish lore.
Yep.
But the golem, I think not we, you and me, but a lot of people are golem-like in the way that Zog has programmed them. That they don't know who they are. They don't have a purpose in life. They don't tap in to their ancestral greatness. And they just kind of, they're the useless feeders that Harari complains about, that he wants to wipe off the map, so many useless eaters. But yeah, we have to get unspelled, by that kind of Kabbalic magic. It's very, very evil. And I do believe there's a huge amount of occult being used against us. One of the things that I'm going to be, how do I say, proposing on a show coming up is the idea of creating like prayer groups that work, in the movement, that pray for our people, that pray for our movement, to harness the power of prayer within the movement. I think it's time we did that, especially with Christians. They're all like, I'm Christian. Well, why aren't you praying for our freedom? Or like, if there's like, some Muslim drives through like a supermarket or some shit or whatever fucking thing they do to kill us, then we should have like a white identity movement prayer organization, that is, constantly, every week could be a new thing. And then, I mean, you can see there's infinite, possibilities with that. So yeah, it's just,
I totally agree.
I don't know why.
I totally agree.
We don't have things like that already, but I feel like the movement is.
I think we're starting to see more stuff like that. There's some really cool stuff going on with the Christians in Nashville at the Patriot Jam.
Hey, tell me about the Patriot Jam.
Yeah, dude.
What's this Patriot Jam thing you speak of? Hit us up, man. Give us the lowdown.
Oh, bro.
Brown. All right.
Bro.
You got
unfortunately, I did not get. Yeah. Before I do that, do you mind if I hit some of these comments here?
It's sure thing, man. Go for it.
Okay, so Hamfari says, I love this discussion. Icelanders have had a lot of elvish encounters since our beginning.
Wow.
That's very cool. I do think elves are real. I do think that they're like a supernatural or preternatural kind of creature.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hippocratic Oath chimes in. He says egregore, yes, which is another kind of thought form, kind of concept. That's very, very well said, sir. And then Mr. Shadow says, the drawing, keep up the great work. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much.
I'm noticing you really have a really good appreciation for the female form, and I definitely admire that.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
this.
man,
I've just been
it's
going through this funny scene where there's a thing happening in this scene that I don't. You'll have to buy the book when it comes out to understand the real context of what's going on here. But
and
it's
it's
pretty
not what you
cool stuff.
think either. Yeah.
No, it's not what you think. And it's actually fairly funny. I mean, it's definitely not, like it's okay to it'll be like rated PG or whatever. Anyway, so I'm stealing your spotlight here, buddy.
No, dude, I'm stealing yours. Let me catch up with a couple more comments here.
Okay.
Victorian Time Traveler says, "I didn't know you were streaming today, Donald. Hey, who was it that said yesterday that historical revision should focus on what we've lost? That was profound."
I think that was
Uh,
maybe me because I mean that was something I was saying, but maybe somebody else added something to that. I don't know.
huh.
But yeah, that's a serious issue.
Yeah. And then Hippocratic Oath says, "The cattle create a thought form every Super Bowl halftime and Olympic ceremony." Right
Yeah,
there.
there's right. It's funny because there's something I don't know. It's kind of like they're casting spells when they do those things, and you see sometimes they have those like what he was saying, these kind of like dance performances, and it's like about CERN, or there's people dressed up as like devils or human trafficking, blood drinking. There's always some little symbol in there that they're trying to. It's weird how they just show the truth. They like just show their fucking cards. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Um, and then one last one that I'm seeing here, Hemfari says they are fourth dimensional beings. Yeah. Yeah, dude. The
yeah.
thought forms, I think, is what he might be speaking of.
Hmm.
But yeah, dude, I honestly, dude, I think there is something to all that stuff. And that's part
Yeah.
of the reason I could never make it as a pure mechanistic atheist, someone with the mechanistic view of the universe. I really think there has to
Right.
be like
Right.
intelligence and some sort of soul behind everything.
Hmm. For me, I've come to. I I'll just say it like I think that God is the sum of all consciousness, and that is
Yeah.
something that people in quantum physics would say, oh yeah, that's a good description, and that's kind of where I got it from. I mean, it's not like I you know quantum physics is my religion or something like that. But just over the years, looking at various things, and then this idea that will go deeper. What is that? Then what is consciousness? And as it seems so far, you could say that consciousness is in some case or in some way the creative force of the universe. And so as such, like you could you could say, for example, we are the dream of God, or we are the thought forms of God, or something like that. There's different ways
Oh,
to.
yeah, dude.
Right, there's different ways to kind of process the information. But it gets really trippy. It gets very, very trippy the more you talk about it, and it can get weirder and weirder. And it's hard to talk about when you're trying to concentrate on inking a comic book too. That's another. It's like juggling. But let's get back to the chat here. Anything interesting going on? Ulfric says atheism is boring. Atheism is boring anyways. Imagine thinking that being a worm feast is all we have to look forward after life. It's well, not only that, and I've talked about this many, many times on my show. I'm very interested in the topic of near death experiences. That's a whole field. And, after my dad passed away when I was 18, I dedicated my life to understanding death. And so, one thing I urge people to do is to look up near death experiences. And something like 80% of the people who die and come back have almost identical stories of the things that they saw on the other side. So that's scientifically enough to say, like, there's something going on here. Then there's, of course, the whole field of astral projection, and all that, remote viewing, all of these things tie together. Um, and so it's not even scientific anymore to be atheist. That's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, the whole consciousness thing really throws that off. You got some great comments again. Popcorn Power says, she shines shoes? Who says women are useless?
Oh my!
Oh man. Okay. Oh man. That was savage, bro.
That was savage. There's, I don't know what's going on in the chat. I haven't really looked at it yet. The cattle create a thought form every Super Bowl. Oh yeah, we got that. Well, I'm first of all, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Thanks again for joining. I'm really glad to have my good friend here, Luke Mason, Imminent Rain. Do you want to talk a little bit about your recent music?
Oh yeah, I'm still kind of inching forward with the music. I'm currently writing a book, and in the book, there's a cassette tape in the book, right?
Yeah.
And the cassette tape has magical powers.
Nice.
Basically, it's become the vessel of this elf spirit who was named Malavir, right?
Okay.
And Malavir was like an elfin wizard, and he found out that his entire elven race, after he went to the middle realm and created humanity, he found out that his entire kindred was wiped out by Vorak, the evil Varakian sorcerer, right? And his minions, the Varakian elves. So anyway, Malavir was lured, caught, and captured, and his only way of getting revenge was to create and he figured out that since Thulor, the god of nature, created the universe with the sinister song spell, his most powerful spell could be a song. So he wrote 9 sinister songs that would basically bring his spirit back to life in whoever was worthy of hearing these songs or playing them.
Amazing, dude. That's fantastic. I love it. This is your book.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh yeah, dude. It's pretty gnarly. But anyway, these sinister songs, the 9 sinister songs, I'm actually working on recording those.
Okay, genius.
And I have lyrics already written for them.
Okay.
But yeah, they're part of this greater story and this mythology that kind of runs as an undercurrent to the story of this person named Dan Kromiger, who is given this tape by Merlin. Merlin is like looking for someone who has the capacity to hear the tape, because if you hear the tape but you aren't worthy of it, it'll kill you.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
So Dan Kromiger listens to the tape and he gets like these heavy metal demon powers that enable him to like literally melt people's faces with heavy metal.
Oh my god.
And that's kind of like an overview of the book. And
things I could
I could really use it. Dude, if you ever feel inspired, dude, I could really use a person with some serious comic book artist talent, man. It would be so badass.
I think at the very least I should be I could give you like a poster art, like a, you know what I mean, like if it were like a book cover, the artwork for the book cover or something like that.
Oh yeah, dude.
We'll definitely talk about that.
I would be so honored even to have any of your feedback on any of this stuff, man. Any participation.
Yeah.
It would be killer.
I'm in, bro. I'm in. Okay. We'll figure it out. So I've been
that would be fun, man.
I have talked quite a lot, sort of offline or whatever, about your ideas, the arts, et cetera. And the issue, and this would be an interesting discussion for the chat, is like, how risky can we get? How based can you be in your art? Like, can you use the N-word? Can you be like excessively violent towards our enemies in our arts? Do you get where I'm going, guys?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good topic. I would say before we catch up with we got some more good comments to catch up with,
Okay, go
but
ahead. Why don't you lead?
before
Go ahead.
okay, yeah, I would just say as long as you're not trying to make any money or get published by a mainstream publisher, you can pretty much say what you want.
Okay.
But yeah, let me catch up with some of these. So okay, okay, after the shining shoes comment, which was brilliant, by the way, Mr. Shadow says, I don't really understand your movement, but aren't you all human skeletons no matter what you are? It's a very good question.
I don't know what you mean by that exactly. Who said that again? Who wrote that?
That was Mr. Shadow. He sounds like a shadowy individual. But I know that forensic scientists have known that these skeletons are not all created equal.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's interesting how they can tell the race of a skeleton too. Isn't that amazing?
Isn't it?
Yeah. Even skeletons show the biological difference of race. How about that? Can't hide it.
Victorian Time Travel says Devin an entire 2-hour stream about Olympic opening ceremonies and how they've gotten to be so anti-white, and yet immensely. Wow. And I love Devin Stack. That guy is like one of my heroes, bro.
Awesome, man. He's definitely one of the big guys out there.
Yeah, dude.
For sure.
I always try to catch his streams, man. And it's not only the things that he talks about. I mean, I do love his deep dives, man. The guy is brilliant and he makes such brilliant points. But it's also his voice, dude. He has a great radio voice.
That's a good point. Oh, that's a good point. That helps. I've seen podcasters that talk like this, and it's okay. We're going to talk about this politics. And I'm like, how the fuck can you do? How a good friend needs to step up and say, "Listen, man, I'm sorry to tell you this, but like podcasting is not for you." Oh my god.
Yeah, sometimes that's the case.
Yeah, sometimes you got to hear some hard truths.
Let's see. Yeah, and it can be rough, but Devin's one of the good ones, I think. And Ulfric says atheism is boring anyways. Totally agree. Imagine thinking that being a worm feast is all we have to look forward to in the afterlife.
I read that one before.
Yeah, excellent point. Victorian Time Travel says kind of like the Platonic view of the one. I think he was talking about your idea that all consciousness has its origin in God, in the divine.
So, yeah,
I think that's very, very well said.
And a lot of that, it's not like it's my idea. It's you do years and years of research, and you gather data, gather, and then you draw conclusions, and that's the conclusion that I'm at, currently. It just because there's just so many different people in different areas, fields, etc. And then I think you have to test that stuff out in your life, and my comeback from being almost suicidal, frankly, from all the traumas that I had to go through in the last 3 years, to me is the proof, and I'm not saying that I couldn't relapse, but if I do, it's my own fault. If I were ever to fall again or whatever. I don't see that happening. I can't see that happening now after I know what I know, after the relationship I have with God is so powerful, and the mission that I'm on in my life is so powerful, and it's aligned with that relationship with God. So I don't see anything but victory. How you like them apples?
Oh yeah, dude. I love them apples. They sound like some victory apples.
Exactly.
Let's see. Yeah. Victorian Time Traveler, let's see. He says, I don't know if I want to go into particulars, but I did have a near-death experience. Wow. That sounds like an excellent conversation. Maybe you can have him on the show sometime.
Well,
that would be awesome.
I would first say, I would ask Victorian Time Traveler to go on YouTube, type in near-death experiences, and you'll see tons of videos. I don't know if you've already done this or not, or if this is something you want to do, but it's not, how do I put it? There's just so many. There's thousands and thousands of recordings of people giving testimonials of their experiences, and at the very least, you could compare your experience with those people and what they say and what they experience, and then make some sense of it for yourself, because that's pretty heavy shit. That's very, very heavy stuff. We're all going to die. So like you have
Yeah.
to, it's in some way we're all responsible to ourselves to investigate this topic. Not the most fun thing, I guess, for some people, but you don't have to be afraid, or you don't have to get weird about it or whatever. I'm sure, of course, if it happens, like you had a near death experience, it's a very intimate topic. It's your personal life, yada yada. So that's fine, or whatever, respectful, something something. But I would say go ahead and start looking into it and see what you find. And then if you wish, I would really, really love to hear, what you learned. That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. So good stuff.
Yeah, I would be curious on that as well. Matt Dubia, a man after my own heart, says he gives a Roman salute and says, "Hail Hydra."
Yes,
And
Hail
then
Hydra.
Popcorn Power says, "We are the dream of God." I think that there is an H.P. Lovecraft horror story about some ancient cosmic being that
Mm.
other eldritch gods try to keep asleep lest it wake up and everything disappears. Yeah, I think that might be Cthulhu, perhaps.
I don't know. That does actually sound familiar. Um, that might just be a simple way to put it for us puny humans to, be able to conceive of it or what have you. Knowing all things at all times throughout all universes is not something I think the human mind is really built to do. It should be like godlike, really. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
we have to parse it out, and then being in the 3D alone is super limiting. We were talking about 4D beings, and that's
Yep.
basically pure spirit. It's a realm in which time and space are not limited like they're limited here. You could potentially,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you could potentially see several times simultaneously. You could see things from so many different perspectives if you're not limited by time and space. You know, um,
Yeah, when you say time, that makes me think of Kronos again.
mm, so yeah, hit me up with that. Like, what's your? I mean, I'm not as savvy as you are on the mythology. So, what's Kronos about?
Oh, well, he's often depicted in popular lore as Father Time, but he's
Okay.
also the god that was children.
Oh God. Wow. Wow.
And Zeus defeated him by castrating him.
Mm. Um.
But he's
I.
also the god that's connected to the black cube, which the our
Saturn.
favorite bagel boys like to worship.
So, um, I wonder if that's maybe not just an analogy for, I guess, oof, how do I phrase this? The
Like
transmission of,
entropy.
well, no, something more along the lines of like the transmission from 4D to 3D, which is more quantum physics talk. But, um,
Mm,
like, like how can we exist outside of time? And even time itself is really just kind of a concept, but it's still something. Yeah,
yeah.
like you were just saying, entropy, atrophy. We those are kind of the measurements of time. Aging and deterioration, but yet it's somehow
Yeah.
coded. It's coded right into nature. There's the seasons passing, all of it. Birth, middle age, death, etc. So you could say time does exist in that regard. not as a concept, but as these things you were talking about, entropy, etc. I don't know. I'm getting kind of
Yeah.
philosophical down.
Yeah, dude, you're kind of exploding my brain, bro.
But get back in the box.
Hamfari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hamfari is maybe dog whistling a little bit with this. He says
Oh.
"wow," which I believe stands for World of Whiteness.
Oh, really? Interesting. He's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my dog whistle friend. Actually, he's
I love
I'm
it.
surprised that you guys don't know each other. You're like, holy shit. Now that I think about it, you are like the American version of him in so many ways. He's like an insanely great guitar player, shredder, cool guy.
You know,
But he
I
also
might.
makes like really sick techno music.
Cool. Yeah,
I
dude.
some things I won't say online publicly, but let's just say he's
Yeah,
super
yeah.
hardcore. I'll put it like that. If there's things I can't
Yeah,
say, then
dude.
you know it's hardcore. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, dude. He sounds like a bass bro.
oh, massively,
Let's see.
massively.
Victorian Time Traveler is giving us a little report here. He says the stream right beneath this in the YouTube scroll is a Pagiet meat market, and I think he's meaning to say Pajit meat market.
Pajit, yes. Okay.
Yes, that's interesting. Pajit meat market.
I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
sure. I get a lot of Indians in the chat randomly because my algorithm is like how to draw comics basically, and then you just get a lot of people that they're into anime and that kind of thing, and they want me to teach them and stuff. So it's whatever. It's
Yeah, I think.
oh yeah. Years ago, before I became Donald Kent and all that, I worked for a publisher in Bombay, just for a short, like brief time. It was just like a freelance job thing, and they offered me a position as like an editor, but I would have to move to Bombay. And at the
Oh
time,
shit, dude.
I know at the time I had just had my son, and I'm like, I'm not moving to India with a newborn baby. Like that's ridiculous. That's insane. And then beyond that, there's this world is filled with people that like just blow smoke and like they have all these big promises and we're gonna give you this and that and you're gonna be this and that. And then when you get there, they fuck you, like they know you have no way out.
Yeah,
And then especially if I have a baby
yeah.
in
All of a
tow,
sudden,
holy fuck, that'd be a
yeah,
nightmare
dude.
situation. Yeah, yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, and they might just you be trying to get paid, and they'll be smiling at you, giving you a Vegemite sandwich.
Well, I think
You know the
that's
reference?
down under right there what you're talking about. But yeah, it'd be
Oh, I
like,
thought it was someone from Bombay who did that.
well, Bombay is India, so I'm we were just
Yeah, yeah.
talking about Pajits, but oh no, I get what you're saying. Well, Vegemite's a big thing in Australia. I don't know if you knew that or not. I actually had an Australian girlfriend in college. She was like an exchange student,
Really?
and that's how I
Oh,
learned
dude.
about Vegemite. Isn't that nice?
Oh, those girls from Australia are
Oh,
are
she is. Yeah, she
highly
was.
sought after for good reason, I
Oh
think.
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. That was a lovely time in my life. It's lovely memories.
Oh, yeah. Let's see
Being
the
young.
stream. Okay, so after that, Victorian Time Traveler says at Popcorn Power, I was in a Twitter the other day and I recited a Lovecraft poem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, very well.
Oh,
Very well.
he says this needs to become a movie. I think he's talking about your comics work here, bro.
Oh, okay.
And I
So,
would have to agree.
oh, thanks. That is the end of the rainbow for people who do comics. Is that you want to get optioned by a film studio, and I will tell you a little secret. The writer he's got experience and contacts in Hollywood, so whether or not it gets picked up is just anybody's guess. Um, the other side of it too is that there's a lot of politically incorrect humor in it. And now, we're in a time where you can, it's like the age of South Park and Family Guy. So people love politically incorrect humor. That's huge. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not kind of holding my breath, but at the same time, I feel like, it's not impossible that such a thing could happen. I wish I could tell you more about the story. It's really really complex with like many many characters. Here's a page from earlier in the story, and let me back out a little bit. This dude right here, he's called Capital Pig, and as you can see, he's got
Oh,
like
nice.
and he's got these two buttons. One is the Democrat Party, and the other is the Republican Party.
Oh, dude,
So,
this is deep stuff, man.
oh yeah, and I mean these you can't recognize them with their glasses on, but this is basically like Mitt Romney and Biden over here. So
Oh,
there's
man.
yeah, we're going full throttle Aristotle, bitches.
Hey, bro, can you cover for me for a couple?
Go. All right, do whatever it is you got to do.
Be right back.
All right, my brother. I'll just talk to the chat a little bit, see what's going on in the chat. Rooney, what's going on here? Yeah, Donald, I never asked you what your opinion of anime was. Oh my god, dude, we had a huge thread about that in my Telegram channel. It's so funny that you should bring that up. Maybe Hippocratic Oath can jump in on that topic. Matt W says you wouldn't have a trash bill there either. Trash bill. Not sure what a trash bin. Matt W says no sewer trash bills. Oh well, in Bombay. Hemfari, I was talking about your book. Oh man, I'm way out of context here. I don't know what's going on. Indians love to hang out in live chats. Really? Jack Vance Kirkland. Hey, buddy. Kirkland, are you a writer? Do you do any writing, or are you in the creative sphere at all? Your name sounds familiar, and I'm trying to. I know you've been on in my chat before, but I'm trying to connect. Victorian, you can ramble about your knowledge of higher dimensions. I guess we're all over the map right here. So try to answer the question. Okay, I lived in Japan for a year. I worked for a Japanese company for 2 years. Um, I went to Japan to study traditional arts, such as painting and Buddhism. Those were the primary interests that I had and why I went there. I went on a student exchange program, so I was there for a year at a place called Kansai Gaidai, Kansai University Foreign Studies. And it just would mix things. There'd be something really violent. Like that, those things don't go together. So I never understood like the Japanese mentality about that kind of thing. I think they're in the literary world, they commit a certain literary crime, something called odd, which means one damn thing after another. And that, if you watch the out of this girl at the baseball meet and then something, and then they're chased by a police officer, and like nothing connects, and I find that really not interesting, annoying. So like, and the other thing is I just don't like the look of it. I don't like people that all look the same and they all look like aliens. Like, think about it. Manga, what do they have? Like huge heads and small mouths and like almost no nose. Like, that's weird. That's weird as shit to me. I don't. That's not aesthetically pleasing to me. So I just never bought into it. And then years later, it's like, oh, everybody loves manga now. And hey, Don, don't you love manga? You're into Japanese stuff. I'm sorry to disappoint you. So my speech is over. Okay, Luke's back.
Hey,
Now for somebody much
I
cooler than me.
actually, I'm here to learn from you,
Oh,
and I happen to share your thoughts about manga a lot.
oh, really?
I definitely prefer like the Western
Yeah.
comic books kind of art.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
there is a comment in here that I wanted to address.
Okay.
Says Nine Sinister Songs brings back an ancient horror. Isn't that the plot of the cartoon Rock and Rule 1983? Bro, I apparently need to watch that. I've never seen Rock and Rule, and I need to check that out because that might give me some ideas. But I can tell you something that I'm fairly sure that Rock and Rule doesn't have. Uh, I'm pretty sure Rock and Rule doesn't have a white devil who destroys migrant hotels.
Oh my god, dude, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So that circles right back to my sort of like aesthetic philosophy question. In our sphere, like, how based and can you be in the arts? Like, can you show things like what Luke just talked about? You know, like white people joining together to do things like that, like burning down, migrant centers, or worse. You know what I'm saying? Like taking out political leaders or something. I suppose if the names and addresses are not real, like if you're not literally saying, Joe Schmo from 25 Main Street, and who's like the senator of whatever, like you would obviously not do that. I think that's a bit much, but I don't know. Any thoughts from the peanut gallery on that? Like, how far can we go artistically to express our
Well, actually,
frustrations?
Hamfari makes a couple good points here that I think it's really good to
Okay.
consider. He says, in Europe, you will go to prison if you make songs about our enemy, and Mr. Bond got 10 years.
Jesus Christ, that's true. God, that's fucking terrifying. So I mean,
It is.
it's devastating to me to say that European governments are now shit. They're total shit. They are literally like the opposite of freedom. They literally are operating to destroy themselves, nothing else. Like to,
Yeah.
to oppress their own people. The governments in Europe are pure evil in this regard. That are behind this kind of programming. Um, I mean, damn, that's what's called a real political prisoner right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah. Well, and I
very
don't think we're
harsh.
too far behind them in the United States because we have
Right.
some of our own political prisoners.
Oh yeah.
Matt Hale never killed anybody, and he is still in prison as a political prisoner. because he didn't virtue signal hard enough against the guy that did shoot somebody. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I know there's others. There was the January 6th people that
Oh, sure.
got thrown in prison for legal protest.
Are any of them out yet? I mean, I thought once Trump got in, they would get out. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, jeez.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand the immense danger in speaking truth to power, but someone has to do it. And I think there are ways to do it that are smarter, using more symbolism
Okay.
and allegory to tell those stories, I think is a better path.
Yeah, yeah. Victorian Time Traveler says that he wrote a song and he's going to post it on my Telegram. So I'll look forward to that. Humfari says Iceland is on the same level as America. Yeah. Popcorn says you can be the blatant and slow down. You can be that blatant in art. However, it almost always backfires. But if you make it subtle, as was done with movies since their very beginning, you can get away with indoctrination message. Do what works. I understand Humfari, America. So there's something coming down the pipeline here that I might be leading, I guess, on. And that would be the use of our artists for something of this nature. Um, not in any way violent or anything of that kind. That not that based, if you will, but the organization of artists for our cause. And so, as such, this does beg certain questions about, like, how do the arts function in our sphere? So for me, I've always said, I'm here to serve you, to serve the people in the movement, because we don't have any art that is about us, for us. We're just constantly undergoing the MK Ultra of Hollywood, and race swapping characters, homosexuality, all the shit that they force feed us. So I'm really here more for you guys. I don't go out of my way to try to red pill normies with my art per se. But I feel like we could potentially be on the border of getting a lot of attention. And as such, it opens up the discussion among us artists. What do we want to do? Like, if we have to organize, how should we organize, and what would be the standards that we want to hold as artists of the white identity movement? That's a big question I'm going to put out to the floor there, and anybody in the chat, if you want to jump on that. And then also, Luke, if you want to kind of share your thoughts on that, if you could.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I share your thoughts about your sentiments about trying to wake up normies with art.
Yeah.
I honestly think that that might be. I mean, most normies who are true normies are probably too far gone.
Yes.
There's vagues that we can reach if we want to use Mr. Kuna's terminology, which I think is
term, but go on. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's an apt term, but
Okay.
I think there are people that are on the fence. But really, what I want to do with art and with music is I want to just encourage and entertain and inspire and educate our people, and lead them more toward thinking of themselves as a people, and tribing up, and letting go of anything that might be holding them back. In other words, I want to encourage them to unleash their inner devil.
Their inner
I would
white
say
devil.
within each white man lives a sleeping devil, and now is the time to awaken.
Okay, so that's the Luke Mason brand right there, folks. And like, I think inside the movement, that's funny and cool. There's something to it that's, we get it. It definitely, what's the word? It trolls the left. You get my point. It
Yeah.
trolls. I mean, there's a lot of anti-white racism out there. A lot. I mean, just the term "white devil." I mean, that's clearly like a black racist term against us. So like to own it though,
Yep.
I think is funny. I think it's funny. Now, just on that topic of owning these terms, Greg Gutfeld, I think his name is. He's from Fox News. He's a Jewish
Mm-hmm.
commentator, and he recently was in the news for saying that we conservatives should own the term Nazi because they're gonna call us Nazis anyway. So just let's just own it. My Nazi, my Nazi, how we doing? How's it going today, my Nazi? And Gutfeld is known for his humor. Like that's kind of what that's his brand. He does humor, political humor. But he's also Jewish, which is kind of a very, very curious, mixture there.
Well,
I
yeah.
want to kind of put that out there. But
Yeah, I'm one of those crazy edgelord people that think he's absolutely correct in that.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, dude, like, I think we should learn a thing or two from our Begelian brothers. And deception and cunning and ruthlessness does not belong to the Bagel Boys. Deception and cunning and ruthlessness is as old as the tiger's stripes.
Wow.
And I think that like, I honestly think that we need to not allow people who hate us to have a monopoly on things, on emotions like fear.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would say that until the people who want to do us harm fear us again, we won't be able to reclaim our destiny.
Wow.
And that's where the white devil comes in.
I get it. It's really it's an expression of being fed up with having to be nice to people who are robbing, raping, and killing us, and laughing about it. Like why, where, and how, and on what planet should people like that deserve our kindness and mercy? Honestly, so there's something there. Tapping into anger. And anger is a force. It's definitely a force. It's very, very powerful. And I mean, there's an expression going around. It's how many white people would be alive today if they were racist? It's pretty powerful. It's a very sobering.
Yeah.
It's a very, very sobering expression. And I think it makes white people lose their minds. They kind of they short circuit. They like, because they're there's the contradiction of both of those sides of the coin, so to speak. It's heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff for sure. But I'm just
I have a lot of thoughts about that. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, so I'm gonna zip up here. Unleash the Aryan. Popcorn says, on the flip side, Murdoch was extremely popular and raised people's spirits, but it was only meant for our crowd, not the public as a whole. Popcorn says, I think the bottom line is how subtle or overt you are depends on your target audience, public consumption versus in-group consumption. That just covers it. I think you nailed it, bro. Victorian, with respect to use of different entity than a devil to describe it, werewolf maybe. It's an interesting thought. White werewolf? Sounds like a superhero to me. I'm going to get on it right away.
You can have that one. I'm very stuck on the devil because devil has a connection with heavy metal.
Right. You're losing the gravitas of it. I mean, it's a racist term, white devil, and to turn that into like
I do like.
Yeah, and turn it into a sort of a wolf.
I like white werewolf though.
Yeah,
I like the white werewolf. That should be another one. Someone should do that. That's a great idea.
Popcorn says, don't let your opponent define you. That's very much part of my martial arts philosophy. Don't let them lead the dance. You know, I think Luke could probably speak to that a lot. And they're doing it through dialectic, through culture, media, these things, you know, of this nature. They rule our narrative. As you see, narrative control. This is such an important topic in our world. Jack Vance Kirkland says, my creative output is personal rather than political. Oh, he's answering a question I had before. I am who and what I am, a politically aware white man. People can either detect that in the art or not. Either way, it is present. T-Rad Dad. Hey, Donald and crew, welcome back. T-Rad Dad. Oh, yeah. The White Lichen. Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
The White Lichen. That sounds like the name of our
that is good
society, the White Lichen.
Ooh, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That has some gravitas of its own. I like that.
Yeah,
I want to speak to this comment about taking someone else's insult isn't a winning position. Let them feel bad for being horrible. And also this one, I think that's it. You know, don't let your opponent define you. I actually think there's a difference, and this is just my crazy white man's opinion. Okay,
go for it.
So just, you know, I'm not expecting anyone to agree with me, but this is just where I'm seeing it from. I think there's a difference between letting the enemy define you,
yeah,
and choosing to deliberately agree and amplify. And I view that as like a kind of like a jujitsu of sorts, where you're like, you know, and that's what the white devil imagery is all about. Like, oh, you're going to call us white devils? Well, okay, we own it, we accept it, and watch out, because here we come. Because I don't view this as something that can be won with like a virtue signaling contest of how nice we are.
Right. No.
So,
I mean, that literally, it's kind of, I always think virtue signaling and politeness, all that shit, our enemies know that the game is rigged against us when we do that. As soon as they can see that we start, oh, I'm not racist, oh, I have a black friend, oh, you know, and we're apologizing, they move in for the kill as soon as you start being nice to them. That's not how this is the difference between them and us, is that they run by the law of the jungle, you know, and if you're going to be nice, you're meat, you literally prey, you know. So like that does not work. You don't use that methodology with this opponent. So that's as simple as it can be, you know. I have spoken.
yeah, dude. And I'm seeing in the comments, I got a Jack Vance Kirkland says satyr, and I actually, that has more to do with my definition of like the white devil than the Satan of the Bible. I'm not a fan of the biblical character of Satan, because I think of it as just like a more sinister aspect of Yahweh. But the I see like the satyr, and when I think of that, I think of like the horned nature gods, Cernunnos, Veles, and Pan. You know, I think more in terms of like the natural order, and I think that barbarity and the chaotic and scary parts of nature are also part of that natural order. And I think that heavy metal is like in the same vein, in that same current of the natural order. And it's funny because Jack Vance Kirkland also says, as Richard Spencer famously says, we are the villains. He says, I don't agree, but it's funny. And maybe about this, but I've seen everyone, you know, trying to do the nice guy approach, trying to be the David Duke, you know, trying to hold on to that good guy badge, and I just don't think it's about that. I don't think that's you know, call me crazy, and some people think I'm subversive for thinking this way or whatever, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just noticing that you know, it doesn't seem to be working. Like even when you're like the nicest guy possible,
Yeah.
you know, the most squeaky clean good guy that there
Yeah.
can be. Like,
Yeah.
you know, David Duke was he's very well spoken and very
Educated.
he never did anything violent, you know.
Yeah.
He was very charitable and very nice to everyone, but they still called him an evil Nazi.
Yeah.
You know? And like Jason Kuna, total squeaky clean good guy, you know,
Yeah.
like total Chad with the six pack, dresses nice.
Yeah.
It signals hard against anyone who says anything unkind against nons, you know.
Yeah.
But they still call him an evil Nazi. And I like what Splattercat says in here. He says, "Yes, I am racist. What now? Where do we go from here?" And he says it disarms them. And I agree. Like, and even there's something kind of retarded about weaponizing the word racist.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, like a Buddhist, you know, is someone who loves Buddha and studies his ways.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
A pianist is someone who studies piano and loves to play piano.
Wow.
And so logically, a racist would be someone who studies the reality of race and loves their race. And I just can't really find anything objectively evil about the term.
That's amazing, dude. You just destroyed it. And I've said this again many times on my show, that anytime I'm called a racist, I just simply jump in and say I'm a race realist. And
yeah,
I feel like
that's a great term too.
I got that from Jared Taylor, and you know, race realism. That's essentially what he says whenever anyone throws that at him. And I'm like, it really is just plainly true. It's just simply, I believe race is it's biological, and you know, I follow the science of biology and crime statistics to understand race. Therefore, I'm a race realist. And when you say that, it takes the wind right out of their sails. Oh my God, they hate that, because now they look like you know, the dumb one. They look like the person who is like what's the word, like superstitious, you know, that it just deflates them completely. So I strongly urge people to say that, to use that. It is just plainly true. I mean, it really is just plainly true. I've seen people say like, oh no, let's own the term racist, and you know, let's like, oh hey, my Nazi, and I think that's just kind of like, you know, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say, bounce off me and sticks on you. You know, it's just like a childish way of responding, and we don't want to be children. We don't want to act like children like the left does. Now, if you want to, go ahead, go right ahead. You know, you know, you can go ahead and go full Kanye if you want, you know. I mean, God bless you. You know, God bless you if that's what you want to do.
Dude, you got some big brains in the chat, spitting fire, bro.
Oh, dude, yeah. I better get in here. We got Charles Garrity is here. I've never met Charles before. Good to have somebody new. Woo! Okay, hold on here. Richard's villains. You read that? I don't agree, but it's funny. We have plenty of empathy. Our point is the hostility aimed at us and the unwanted transforming of our existence. Yes, yes, I'm racist. What now? I think that's powerful for starters. Like that's a total judo flip. But again, you do you. So it disarms them. It's like familyist. Oh, that's curious. Never heard that term. Excellent point on the word trickery. Jack Vance, imagine not being a familyist. A Hippocratic oath, the last N word is being rehabilitated. Yeah, that Nazi word rather than the other N word. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just, it points to the ridiculousness of this this word trickery. Like Garrity said, that was And that's exactly what it is. It is word trickery. And you know
Yeah.
what? We invented a lot of these words and they're in our language. And so, like we are the owners of our own culture and we have
Yeah.
every right to reclaim it, is my opinion.
Right. I believe that is it Tolstoy who invented the term racism to like silence Russians against pointing out that Jews were the Bolsheviks and something like that. That's what I read. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I read about the origin of the word racist. Um, a lot going down the pipeline here with all these topics. I try to think like if I had to explain this to my family. Oh wow, you're up a bit.
Circle of banning. Oh, uh-oh. Man, I said I've never done the homework on the origin of the term racist, but I it does sound very typical of what our enemies do using language to attack us. And it's our language.
Appreciate anybody who creates new dialectic.
Hmm.
Start doing it. So like race realist, for example. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of
Yep.
that. A lot of mileage. And it's
Yeah.
like it works, go
And
for it.
credit where credit is due. Uh, I will admit that I definitely I still use all of the Go Free terminology. Even though I don't see eye to eye with Jason, like it is useful terminology and I still
Sure.
use it when I talk to I don't use it as much when I talk to people that are like more hardcore,
Yeah.
that are like more sure of
Right.
themselves of being on our
Right. You don't
side,
need to.
because they see it as like, yeah, they see it as like weak to speak in,
That's true.
to where credit is due. Jason's terminology is pretty brilliant, dude. System is pretty brilliant. And,
Yeah, I get a lot.
I still use it. And I think that,
I get a
yeah,
lot of Jason's.
there's
I
no
get a lot
shame
of
in it.
Jason's people in my chat. Actually, quite a lot. So there you go.
Yeah, dude. I will never forget that stuff. And I still am very proud of the work that I did for,
Mm-hmm. All right, good stuff.
and I still fully behind his book, Prometheus Rising. And I think it's a great allegory and a great story, a great mythology, every bit as epic as Lord of the more explicit
Yeah.
toward us considering ourselves as a people than something like Lord of the Rings. Although I think Lord of the Rings is also part of the Western canon, the European white people's canon of
Well, you're up pretty
losing. Sorry about that, man. Let me move to a.
down the show here, and it
Yeah, maybe so.
after 10
I
on my
think.
end, so I'm probably gonna want to.
Okay, yeah. No, not at all. I got other things I gotta attend to because I gotta get up early in the morning and stuff. But yeah, man. No, you got some great people in the chat,
Big time.
and
Yeah.
they bring some really good points. Really quick before I take off here. But if it helps recruit, it isn't weak. It is smart, says Popcorn Power, and I agree. That's why I still use it. I don't think that like people who are already, on Team White fully need to like limit themselves to like any particular terminology. I think it's okay when we're amongst ourselves to honestly express ourselves. And
I strongly
yeah,
agree. Anger, because that's a whole
yeah,
thing. Like the mind like MK Ultra. It's to make people not express the pain that we feel. And there's certain words that are not allowed, that we will use to express like the intense pain and suffering and frustration we have about our situation. And I think that's to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do that behind closed doors. We're going to do that privately. It's very normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
The answer isn't to just keep doing that, is to try to find our freedom, liberate ourselves from these things, to not have to live the way we live. It doesn't have to be like this. But anyway, on that note, little positive ending right there. My man, thank you so much for joining me. That you made the show really, really fun and cool. Otherwise, it would have been totally boring with me just going
No,
blah,
dude.
blah, blah, blah.
Your streams are fire, bro. I still enjoy watching them, and I learn so much about art when I watch you work. And dude, I really appreciate you letting me cook on some of these topics here. And I love everyone in the chat. You guys are geniuses, and you guys have excellent taste in art streams for following Donald. And yeah, man, thanks for having me, and lots of love to all you guys from North Idaho. And
beautiful.
White Devil hails so hard, bro.
White Devil hails so hard. All right. So on that note, God bless you guys. I love you guys in the chat. You made it today. Incredible